Apologize, call the meeting to order. Councilmember Bilderman, can you do the pledge, please?
Yes, ma'am. Hands over your heart, ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now please remain standing. We'll have the invocation by Pastor John Pohl now.
That's good. Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council members, employees. If you are willing, would you join me in prayer? God of heaven and earth, thank you for your mercies that are new every morning, because today we need it, yesterday we needed it, and tomorrow we need it. God, today we need healing as people, as individuals. Would you grant us healing that comes from your hands, for our minds, for our spirits, for our bodies, and Lord, for our society. Lord, you give us unwavering call to do justice. You tell us to defend the cause of the fatherless and the widow, to love the foreigner residing among us, to provide for the hungry, the thirsty, and the naked, to love our enemy. Lord, it is overwhelming to do all of these things and live in this moment and in this time. So today, Lord, we pray for your mercy, for your strength, for your overwhelming love, for our minds and for our hearts. May your Spirit fill us with hope. Remind us today that we follow your will, that when we take up the call to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly. God, today we trust that you are good and that you do good. For our local, for our state, and for federal governments, God, help us support and pray for our elected officials. For those who are here today, would you give them wisdom, compassion? Would you order their steps and their decisions, Lord, that they would have the wisdom of Solomon in making decisions for this, our town of 29 Palms. Thank you for the leadership that you have given them and for how you continue to lead them. Today, teach us to be faithful people. In these times of crisis and emergency, help us to follow in the footsteps of Jesus. Help us to give and to be gracious, to work together, to support, and to love as you have loved. Bring peace and prosperity to our community and to the city of 29 Palms. Thank you for the peace that is here and for the moving forward that you have given to us. God, grant us mercy today. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you all.
Roll call.
Councilmember Bildering.
Here.
Councilmember Klink.
Here.
Councilmember Wright.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ogilvy.
Here.
And Mayor Mintz has an excused absence.
Okay, and we have no closed session announcements, and there are no changes to the agenda. These proceedings may be viewed on demand of the City of 29 Palms website at www.29palms.org. You may also live stream this meeting by going to our website and clicking on the meeting agenda link. And now we will have proclamation recognizing February as Black History Month by Councilmember Wright.
Step. Proclamation for Black History Month. Whereas many diverse ethnic and racial groups have all played a vital and positive integral part and contribute to the promulgation of America's unique social, cultural, scientific, political, and economic character. And whereas the City of 29 Palms take pride in joining Americans throughout the country in recognizing February 2021 as Black History Month, and whereas we believe emphasis needs to be on putting forward people of African descent in all our complex and multifaceted humanity, rather than relying on tired stereotypes to perpetuate negative perceptions, and whereas in that the City of 29 Palms is desirous of making a bold statement to honor and celebrate the achievements of our African American citizenry, determines that our municipality should communicate this desire by way of an official declaration for the month of February. And whereas acknowledging the significant contributions of how our diverse culture enriches and broadens the American experience, of which Black heritage is an inseparable part as it weaves through our country's history, profoundly influencing every aspect of our lives as well as other dominant culture groups. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of 29 Palms does hereby proclaim February 2021 to be Black History Month and encourage all residents to observe this month, dated this 23rd day of February 2021.
Thank you. And then next we have Chief Tuttle.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Tonight I'd like to introduce Battalion Chief Bob Evans. Bob Evans recently joined our management team here in the South Desert, and while he's new to the Morongo Basin, he is certainly not new to the fire service. He joined the fire service in 1991 as a paid call firefighter in Highland. He worked for 8 years with the U.S. Forest Service before joining the San Bernardino City Fire Department in 2000. In San Bernardino, he promoted through the ranks, firefighter, engineer, captain, and in 2016, promoted to battalion chief. He has worked as a battalion chief in San Bernardino, excuse me, in our mountain division, in our wildland division, and recently transferred here to the South Desert. He holds a captain's and company officer certification through California State Fire Training, as well as an associate's degree in fire science. He has 2 sons, age 22 and 19. The 22-year-old is a senior at Cal Baptist University in Riverside, and his 19-year-old is just completed the EMT program at Crafton Hills College. So we're excited to have Chief Evans join our team here in the Morongo Basin, and look forward to working side by side with him. Thank you. Bob, do you have anything you'd like to say?
First off, my chief's memory is outstanding. So I just wrote that short bio this afternoon, and he's already got it down pat. So I just want to say hello. I'm grateful to be here and serve this Morongo Basin community. I've got a lot to learn, but I'm picking up on it pretty quick. And we look forward as a fire district to support and protect the city of 29 Palms. So I hope to see you in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Okay, consent calendar. All matters, I'm sorry. Council comments?
So ask one of your colleagues for updates.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. Okay. Yes. Okay, council comments and reports of meetings attended. Councilmember Clink.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I, at this time, have not had any meetings to attend. Mine come at the first of the month. But I'm just enjoying finally some good weather here in 29 Palms. I hope you all are too. Let's keep the wind away, please. And just remember this, even though it's still cool, you still need to drink a lot of water out there. Make sure you get your intake of water every day, and that's all I have.
Okay. Councilmember Bill Durang.
Madam Mayor, I had no meetings attended the last couple of weeks, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. And Councilmember Wright.
Thank you. First, want to wish my son a happy birthday, and my mom a happy birthday. And I had my granddaughter last Tuesday. Well, I ain't having my daughter had a birthday. So happy birthday to her. And I did attend the JPA. Really no new information. They just kind of did a review because we had 7 new members join the JPA. So they just kind of did a review of what the JPA does and that kind of stuff. I did ask the question again about recycling centers, and I'm still basically being told the same thing. They still working on the formula. Something wrong with the formula or something like that. So, you know, get into details of it, but it has to do with how much money goes to the actual people that's processing the recycling and stuff like that. It's not coming out right, so that's what they're still working on. One of the things that we did as a JPA, we did get to put John, our president, on that board, so he's working with them directly, you know, coming up with ideas and things like that to help fix this situation so that we can get some of these recycling centers back up and running, and that kind of stuff. And then I do have a special request, Madam Mayor, that if we could adjourn the meeting in honor of Gunnery Sergeant Henry Dean. He was laid to rest today.
Dean?
Yes.
And if I can, real quick, I'm sorry, but I welcome Battalion Chief. Glad to have you here in the South Desert. Look forward to working with you. Thanks.
Okay. And as far as, I did not attend any meetings, but I did participate in Morongo Basin's food giveaway. I helped pack boxes for those within the community that had food insecurities, and that has been a pleasure for us, and hopefully it could be something that we can pick back up and do again.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
July 19th was February 19th was Councilmember Clink's 29th birthday.
29.
Yeah. Times
And holding.
times 3.
Yeah, well, close.
Well, we gotta
So
sing happy
we gotta sing happy birthday to
Yes,
the.
we do.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
All right.
Okay.
And since
I'm ready.
Madam
Would you like-
Mayor,
would you like a
gotta lead
note?
it.
Oh, no, you don't want me to sing. Oh, my God, you really don't. Okay, 1, 2, 3, everybody help me. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear me. Happy birthday to me. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Councilmember Bilderman. You're very welcome. Yes. Okay, now consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are to be considered routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately by the city council. The public will be given an opportunity to comment on the consent calendar items prior to the city council action. So any items removed? Okay, then we need to approve. Public? Any items to be removed? All righty. All right, can I get a motion?
I move make a motion to move the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Bildering,
Aye.
Councilmember Klink,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ogilvy,
Aye.
Mayor Mintz has an excused absence. Approved 410.
Okay. And fire department monthly report? I'm sorry. Say that again? Oh, okay, that's all, okay, I apologize, first time, guys, thank you. Okay, public hearing.
So thank you, Ms. Mayor, Madam Mayor, council members. The item in front of you this evening, staff is recommending, 1, to hold a public hearing, 2, to approve the rate study, and 3, to defer rate billing for 6 months and pay for the sewer service with Project Phoenix project funds not to exceed $31,985.04. Just by way of some background, Project Phoenix is our downtown revitalization project, and this will be the first municipal sewer system in the city. Late last year, January through March, the city installed a public sewer and a septic in Project Phoenix. And at the same time, we engaged Wildan Financial to develop a rate model. And here are the basics with a rate model. The rate should cover the cost of operations and capital replacement. We shouldn't make a profit. There's no profit is associated with it. nor there should be a loss. And the rates are proportionate to water usage. So the more you use, the higher your wastewater bill is. The less you use, the less your wastewater bill would be. When Wildan applied those basic tenets of rates, the rates were extremely high due to not enough customers. We only have 14 customers in our area, which is a small, very small system. So what we ended up doing is looking at Yucca Valley's, a larger municipal system, to get reasonable rates. And when we applied that, the rates generated about $12,000 annually, and the operations is about $80,000. So that created a general fund subsidy of about a little over $67,000. So as part of the approval process, and it's governed by Prop 218, Proposition 218 is what governs rates. We have to have a rate study, which we did to justify those rates. We brought the rates forward to the council at the January 5th council meeting. The council called a public hearing for today, February 23rd, which by law has to be 45 days, at least 45 days after that January 5th meeting. The public hearing was published, and the affected customers, 14 of them, received a direct mail notifying of this public hearing. A couple of additional pieces as it relates to the rate study. Typically, rates are approved in a 5-year increment. So we go through this process. Rates are then established over a 5-year period with inflationary increases annually to keep up with those inflationary costs. However, due to this new system, new buildings coming on next year, then ultimately the package treatment plant, staff is only recommending a one-year rate study. So we'll be doing this all over again next year. Also, too, last meeting, the council gave direction to utilize project funds to help subsidize the rates over the next 6 months. The Project Phoenix funds are healthy enough to subsidize that, and really the key there was, as going through COVID, and actually the key is prior to what my prior statement is the more you use, the higher the rates. The less you use, the less your rates are. So if you are a restaurant, if you are a bar, you use a lot of water, hence a higher rate. And those are most affected within this COVID environment. So, which is why council, gave that direction to subsidize it over the 6 months. Then the council will revisit at that time. So as part of Prop 218, it is not only the council's decision to approve or not approve the rates, it's the ratepayers have a say in it through a protest hearing. We did receive, prior to this meeting, one protest. That protest accounts for 3% of the vote, so it doesn't meet the 50+1 to stop these rates. So that, unless we hear other protests tonight, does not look like there will be a protest of these rates. So council will have that authority to approve if you so choose. That concludes my staff report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Is there any questions from the council? And I open any questions from the public.
My name is Bino Natraj. I have a question for the city manager. If I have a domestic meter and a landscape meter at the Phoenix project, would my landscape meter and my domestic meter be combined and be charged a fee, or?
Yeah, so typically in those scenarios, and that's why you have a landscape and a domestic meter, because it's what goes down the sewer pipe. So, so you want to, and I'm not sure what our water district does in those scenarios, but you want 2 meters for that very fact, because your landscape is not going to go down the sewer.
Thanks, manager.
You're
That
welcome.
answers.
Any other public questions? Then we close the questioning. Okay, then next agenda is Project Phoenix Building?
Well,
No. Sorry. Any more discussion from the council?
I'm gonna make a motion that we recommend the staff following actions. Approve the rate study and defer rate billing for 6 months and pay for the sewer service with Project Phoenix project funds not to exceed $31,985.04.
Second.
Councilmember Klink,
Aye.
Councilmember Bilderine,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ogilvy,
Aye.
Mayor Mintz has an excused absence, 410.
Madam Mayor, I should have added during my staff report, we have, two property owners in Project Phoenix, and we'll probably put her on the spot, Mr. and Mrs. Masterson. And she told me earlier, and I told some of the council that she relayed to me to relay to you that, how appreciative they were on the council listening to the challenges that are kind of going on in this environment. So anyway, the democracy works. So.
Thank you. Okay. Then now next, on to Pioneer Park grant application. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped that one. Project Phoenix Building. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, council members. The item in front of you this evening is Project Phoenix Buildings, and the staff recommendation is to award 17 contracts for the Project Phoenix Community Center and the Joshua Tree National Park Cultural Center in the total amount of $7,581,439, inclusive of a contingency amount of $657,000, and authorize the city manager to execute all documents necessary to enter into the contracts, including any necessary amendments thereto. Just by way of background, and I hate to be redundant on using this adjective here, but this is momentous, right? I know I've used momentous several times, but it truly is very momentous. I mean, this is the single largest, although group of contracts the council will be awarding for Project Phoenix. And although we haven't really called each section of the project a phase, but just to kind of recap what we've done over the past year. So last January through March, if we call that phase 1, that was the water and sewer tasks of the project. Right after that, let's call it phase 2, was the undergrounding of Edison in the area, which is complete. Phase 3, if we call it that, was the site improvements as we see kind of going on as we speak. And this is the final phase, the buildings, what will then be erected in Project Phoenix. And again, just very momentous occasion to award this contract. This will be a traditional delivery of a project, which you design it, you bid it, and then you build it. We designed it. Holt Architecture came on board over the past year or so to design it, and we completed that task. We brought on Tilden Coyle, and we do have 2 representatives of Tilden Coyle here this evening. They came on board to bid the project. And now, I think it's the end of March, we'll be mobilizing and starting to construct. So less than 30 days from now, we'll see mobilizing of the building contractors doing their work. We're delivering this project through a delivery method called CM multi-prime. Traditionally, many of us have seen projects where you hire a general contractor, single contract. The general contractor would have a profit motive, within his or her construction, and hire all the subs. We chose to go a different method. We brought on Tilden Coyle, very experienced construction manager. They do not have a profit motive. They have a fee. We paid him a fee. And then we bid out all of the primes, and those include things like plumbing, electrical, roofing, et cetera. 17 of them, which is in front of you this evening. We anticipated of those 17 trades that were out there that we were going to expect, I think, around 50 proposals. Fortunately, the work that they did to promote our project, we received over 90 proposals. And that being very competitive, kind of have very favorable outcomes as it relates to cost. So we anticipated these proposals to come in at $8.5 million, and they came in at $7.6 million. Within that has $657,000 of contingency still built within that. Over and above that, we're still holding back 10% of that $7.6 million for additional contingency, along with the site improvements, have another 10% held back for those contingencies, which is approximately $450,000. All total, we still have reserved about $1.8 million for contingencies within the project. So the project funds are very secure and also conservative as we move forward. We will be bringing back to the council probably in January-ish, end of this calendar year at some point, as we move closer to completion. Completion of the project is expected in March 2022, so a little over 1 year from now. And we'll look at that $1.8 million to how to spend it to enhance the project. Maybe one of the things, I know I've talked to some of the council members about, things like solar. You know, we talk about how we operate the building, and that's going to be a challenge as it relates to the general fund. Maybe one of the things we could add to the building to relieve the electrical costs is solar, and other things that we'll consider. One other thing too that we will bring back at some point, because the favorable numbers that we have, Mr. Stacy is not here this evening, but we utilize a lot of our roads monies, Measure I, SB1, gas tax dollars, to bring down into Project Phoenix, because there are 4 major roads down there. But given the budget scenario, we may, bring back some of those monies to our general roads in the city. But I'll be bringing that item forward at another meeting. As mentioned, we do have representatives from Tilden Coyle here this evening. Anything that you would like to add, over and above what I just mentioned, or correct anything that I said? Sorry, including the kitchen.
No, just want to thank you guys for giving us the opportunity to be here and build this for you. We're excited to be here and work alongside the city here to get you this 2 new buildings. So, no, everything else you said was correct, Frank. Thank you.
Thank you. And one thing that Councilmember Wright asked me, and I just want to make sure we're clear on the buildings that we're going to be building. So it's going to be the multi-purpose facility that includes a gymnasium, along with the support facilities, things like offices, an entryway, bathrooms, janitorial, a commercial kitchen. So the kitchen that we're collaborating with is with Morongo Unified School District, and that is inclusive of this bid. And in addition to that is Joshua Tree National Park Cultural Center. So all those components are part of this bid.
You done? Any questions from the council?
Nope.
Open for public comment? Okay, then we close. No public comments. Back to the council.
I make a motion that the city council award 17 contracts for the Project Phoenix Community Center and Joshua Tree National Park Cultural Center in the total amount of $7,581,439, inclusive of a contingency amount of $657,000, and also authorize the city manager to execute all documents necessary to enter into the contract, including any necessary amendments thereto.
Second.
Can I make a comment before we vote here? This makes me so happy to see this coming to fruition. It's been going on for way too long when we almost lost all the money to redevelopment agency and the governor. Luckily, we were able to beat them, and this money is now here for us to use, and we are using it wisely. And I just can't wait till March 22 when we can open up those doors for everything. So it's almost bringing little tears to my eyes right now. So, thank you.
Okay, we'll do roll call. Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilmember Klink?
A big yes.
Councilmember Bilderrain?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ogilvy?
Aye.
Mayor Mintz, excused absence, 410.
Okay. Now, Pioneer Park grant application.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem and members of council. This is a request to approve a Prop 68 statewide parks grant application to develop Pioneer Park. The park is located at 73637 Sullivan Road at the southwest corner of Adobe Road and Sullivan Road. It encompasses 1 city-owned parcels, and then we were able to get 2 willing seller parcels to also be part of this expanded park. This is a location map of the project. You have Sullivan Road here on the north side and Adobe Road here on the east side. The property outlined in red is the city-owned property, and the 2 green shaded parcels are the willing seller properties. It is zone public. It has been zone public for many years because it was always envisioned as a park. In fact, some of the land was donated way before my time to help develop this park. So altogether, with the city-owned parcels and the willing seller parcels, we're going to be about 21.5 acres in size. Currently, there is 1 structure on the property. It is the community theater building, Theater 29. Entrances off of Sullivan Road, but also potential access is off Foothill and Yucca Avenue as well. Just some photos of the site. I'm sure you're all familiar with it, but as part of our grant application, we have to submit lots of photos. The existing theater building here, our current bike lane there on Adobe, and then the vast majority of the site looks pretty much like this. It's mostly desert scrubland. So just by way of background, Pioneer Park is identified in our general plan from 2012 and also in the Parks and Recreation Master Plan of 2008. So we really do pull these plans off the shelf every now and then and look at them and see what we said way back then. And so from the Parks and Master Plan, Pioneer Park was described as a center for community and regional activity and to support economic development efforts. Also would include a full range of recreational uses, particularly those with visitor appeal. And I think we definitely met that mark in this park design. And some suggested uses included outdoor performance space, fairgrounds, camping, those sorts of things. We have run all of our proposed uses by the state to make sure they qualify, and they do. Just another little bit, and I really want to thank Parks and Rec. Carrie and Christina did an amazing job gathering community involvement, community input into this plan. It's something we would do anyway, but it is a requirement of the grant application. So over 5 meetings were held at the theater. In addition, there was a virtual meeting and then a open house at the very end. We did, obviously, due to restrictions from the county for COVID, try to keep each meeting size manageable, but we had really good involvement and response from the community. So here's what the community came up with, and it's quite a long list. Renovation and expansion of the community theater, an outdoor stage and amphitheater, multi-use field, soccer, football, and other events, walking trails, a running loop, children's playground, an intergenerational playground, basketball court, tennis court, sand volleyball court, picnic and barbecue pavilion, bike flow course, kite flying hill, and then public art to be included in different locations. And really a lot of this design around an arroyo that would go through the site. Under the grant terminology, there's recreational features, but there's also major support amenities. So these include things like restroom, parking, and landscaping.
So I'll just kind of briefly go through the plan. You can see just from the onset, this looks different than our two current parks, very different. It does not have turf from end to end. We tried to be a little bit more environmentally sensitive in this park design and utilize the desert landscape as part of the design of the park. This would be Sullivan Road here. North is kind of slanted. The existing structure and the proposed addition, the parking. To the west side are the different playgrounds, the recreational courts, basketball and tennis. To the back here is the sand volleyball. This area here would be the stage and the amphitheater for events, concerts. But if they're really large, then they can spill out over this multi-use field, which is being designed as a regulation soccer field, but it can also be used for football and other types of events as well. And you can see the site is sort of traversed with walking paths. There's a running loop here in the center as well. And then along the Adobe roadside, that's the bike flow course and some additional parking as well. So this is an aerial view of the park, a perspective if you're looking southwest. Again, I think our architects and our landscape architects did a really masterful job of taking those suggested recreational features and working them into the landscape, into the desert landscape. So this would be what you would see if the park was funded. Another view with the features identified. Just a little bit about the stormwater management and the grading. Again, we try to design this around the natural flows, natural hydrology of the site. So one key aspect of the park is the arroyo that flows through the site, gathers the rainwater, stormwater runoff for the property. And then throughout, there are these little check dams that help slow the velocity of the water, capture some of it that would feed these native gardens, demonstration gardens. And these would be located along the walking paths. Another perspective here, kind of a cross-section of the arroyo next to the multi-purpose field. Again, a lot of native desert landscaping is being proposed throughout. And then finally, a view of the amphitheater and the adjacent multi-use. So you could see how this venue would be great for small events, informal play. Maybe the theater wanted to do something outdoors, but it could be easily expanded for larger events depending on what type of activity they wanted to perform. I'll just briefly go over this because you've seen these before. These are the building plans for Theater 29. On the left is the existing structure. On the right is the expanded structure. The sort of red dotted outline, that's the addition. So you can see the addition is mostly the stage and the fly loft, with some of the older parts of the building being repurposed for an expanded auditorium, a bigger lobby, larger restrooms, office, concessions, those sorts of things. There would be some additional components to the addition, including the green room, dressing rooms, and bathrooms as well. Kind of a cross-section of what it would look like with the addition. It's been designed to include the ADA seating and chairs for the theater, and then the fly loft addition here that would allow for sets to be dropped down. And we've also, as we put together the grant application, we've stated it's more than just a community theater, that this is a building, a structure that will be used for recreational purposes as well. So Parks and Rec wants to teach a class or have a symposium, those types of things, that structure is available for those uses. Just some elevations, north and south. These aren't rendered, so it's kind of hard to tell, but this rendered version here gets you an idea of what the renovated building would look like. And so with that, our recommendation is to approve the grant application, but I'd be happy to take any questions that you may have.
Okay. Any questions from the council? We're going to open it up for public comments. Any questions from the public? And I'll close it. And any comments or motions from the council?
First of all, thank you, Christina and Carrie, for doing such a great job, and also Travis, great job in getting this all together. So with that, I will go ahead and make a motion that we review and approve resolution number 2102, applying for Proposition 68 Park Bond Grant Funding for the development of Pioneer Park.
Second.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Klink,
Aye.
Councilmember Bilderring,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ogilvy,
Aye.
Mayor Mintz, excused absence, 410.
Future council initiated items.
None.
Can I continue on? Any public comments? This is the time for the public to address the city council on issues within the jurisdiction of the city council that are not on this agenda. All comments are to be directed to the city council and shall not consist of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during the comments. There is a time limitation of 3 minutes per person. If you haven't already done so, please fill out the name and address slips and give it to the city clerk. The city council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussion items not included on the printed agenda. Public comments or specific agenda items will be deferred until consideration on the item on the agenda.
Is there anybody saying?
No one? Okay, then we will go to the city manager's update.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, Council. Just a couple things on an update, and as always, I will be brief. We are in the midst of budget season, so we kicked off budget season with the strategic planning in January, and now we're in the midst of working through the various elements of the budget, which is expected to be in front of the council late May, early June. It'll be a 2-year budget, so it'll be for the fiscal year 21-22 and a 22-23. So we're in that season as we speak. Staff continues to work with the base on the joint use wastewater facility. So that project is continuing, and that, quite frankly, will be our next project. As Project Phoenix moves forward, the next big project within the city will be that wastewater, not only in the city, with the sewering of the city, but also that joint use facility as well. One thing I just wanted to make mention of that grant application that Mr. Clark put together. We, in addition to that, was the Knott Sky Park. So we have both Knott Sky Park and Pioneer Park submitted for Prop 68. This grant application is, I think, $8 million, $8.5 million, and Knott Sky is $3 million. So those are the two that are out there. And just by way of history, Prop 84 was the one prior to this, which was 10 or so years ago. So the time is now, and I think we are positioned very well to hopefully get both of these submissions that we have. I'd like to congratulate both the planning commissioners' reappointments this evening. And finally, Project Phoenix is mentioned, all these steps that are kind of going on. We are continuously working with the businesses down there to be as accommodating as possible through this time frame. This process will go on for the next year, and each week and trying to touch base with a lot of the businesses down there. Mr. Ken Bailey, who is with Charles Abbott and Associates, who are managing our day-to-day site, is doing a great job of trying to pivot and when needed to help those businesses either access deliveries, parking, et cetera. So we have our ears open and trying to work with those businesses during this time frame. And that concludes my comments.
Okay. That's it. Okay. I would like to close this meeting in memory of Gunnery Sergeant Bean.
Chief Tuttle.
You've been summoned.